chat. Players were just smudging a little bit. So what I'm referring to is that the map order is predetermined, so they're going to be forced to play on some of these unorthodox maps. And let's go! Game 1, Paradox. If you were here in the previous editions of this tournament, you would know how hyped this map is. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. What is Paradox, you might ask? Why are you so excited? Welcome, one and all. It's been a long time, at least in SE2, since we've seen an island map. Islands, Bappy. Let's go! Leads to very unique games. Very unique games. Every single week, the highlight of the tournament is always on Paradox. Always. Because it's wild, it's crazy, it's unorthodox. We're loading in. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Paradox, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, the Brood War Zerg, representing Team Hyper 1 as well. It is a 3-point. And one moment, I'll set up the UI. Bam, there we go. We do have our two players, and welcome one and all. Also, before I forget, if you're in the chat, get your gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series, on who you think will advance on or will be this week's champion. As you can see here, you have a base right next to you with a high yield gas, guys. You have a third base as well, so you have a clean 3 bases on your main island, and then you have to, of course, nidus or drop elsewhere. There's an island here towards the left, another island on the right, another island, and another. There's 4 islands in the center. There is kind of this large landmass that connects them as well with high ground, so you can land here. You can try to harass from the high ground with siege tanks or with range-based units on the mineral line, or you can kind of approach this in a different way as well. Now, the last time we were here, HonMonO went Mass Viking, and he actually won the game with Mass. It was crazy. When Mass Viking, they can land, they can lift. It was wild. We saw that 3-point was trying to go Scourge Hydra with Nidus Worms everywhere, and he was able to, like, in the end, 3-point took a lot of bases, but was having a hard time keeping up with just the Mass Viking was actually able to win fights head on. It was crazy. It was wild what Mass Viking did. Meanwhile, 3cc by HonMonO. Again, you can afford to be hyper greedy on this map, but 3-point is rushing into a lair. Oh, wait, what? So, very fast lair out of 3 points. Cancels the Roach Warren. This looks like going to be replacing it instead. And this looks like a Nidus all-in. Like, there's no reason to rush into a lair this early on unless you mean to Nidus or drop a Lord. Yeah, you can see the Overlords getting in position. They're being very intentional with where they're being placed. Likewise, you can see the racks being floated, and HonMonO going double factory, going mech. Interesting. Last time we saw HonMonO, he went mass starport, but that is 3 factories being thrown down at a time, meching it up. Now, the Rax is looking for any stray overlords or scouting across the map. There's a Nidus Worm. Okay, all in. We're just going for the all in. We're not getting a longer game state this time. 3-point is going to be all or nothing. Roaches are amassing, queens are on the way as well, and there is the overlord in position towards the left. And HonMonO has nothing. He has 0 fighting units, and he might even just go for add-ons here. Oh boy, armory is on the way. I imagine soon to be add-ons. If there are no cyclones, then HonMonO is going to be... He's going for a 4th factory. Nothing. There's no units. 4th factory is on the way. Here comes the Nidus. And the game may just end. Yeah, the Nidus is on the way. There's 0 units here. HonMonO, he has no vision of the entirety of the island, so he is just not privy to this. He has no idea. He has a scouting depot, but he's out of range. He's out of vision. Okay, Goliaths are on the way. But here comes the Nidus. Here comes the Queens, the Roaches. Goliath production has begun. But, of course, right, he can't go Viking because he's Brood War. My apologies. I just assumed he was SC2, but he's going Mass Goliath. And we'll zone away the Roaches for now. Boys are being pulled. Can HonMonO pull off a defense? And more Roaches are filing in. Well, the Nidus Worm is barely transfused in time. SCVs are going down. Across the map, we have the racks that are scattered. And HonMonO, I mean, he does have a good amount of Goliaths, so can he hold on? He might be able to. He's up to how many? He's up to 6 Goliaths. As Spine Crawlers are repositioning, boys are being pulled on top of the roaches. Queens are running out of transfuse. And we're trying to focus down those Spine Crawlers. Another Queen falls. Spine Crawlers do burrow. Get a very close defense here by HonMonO. Goliaths are not really known for their anti-ground attack. And all the SCVs do fall. That's 22 SCVs going down. So many workers. And here the boys have been pulled. Let's go. The boys have arrived. Only 4 roaches left. Uh-oh. I think HonMonO's going to hold. If there's no economy behind this, then threepoint is running out of steam. More roaches are trickling in. It's getting so close here. The final SCVs are being pulled as well. Roaches being cleaned up. We're down to 3 roaches. 3 roaches versus 3 Goliaths. 4 Goliaths even. And there's a 5th Goliath on the way. It looks like HonMonO is holding. Takes down the Queen. Takes down the Overlord. Has an economy, which is more than I can say for threepoint. He has 1 drone mining. Threepoint, he can deny mining here at the 3rd. But the Nidus falls. Nidus does fall, and HonMonO, he defends. Is going to bleed out a couple of Goliaths, but again, he can still maintain himself. And threepoint cannot. You know, say wild all in. I was almost certain that HonMonO was getting caught with his pants down. I mean, again, he had 0 units to defend. But Goliaths, they build quite fast. I'll be honest. They build quite quickly, and with the mass Goliath, HonMonO, he holds, he defends. And now threepoint has to go back to mining. And now we're in kind of a weird game state. Because we're on islands, HonMonO can't counterattack. He cannot. He's stuck at home. So the game is going to settle for a moment, and threepoint can drone from here. The problem, though, is that HonMonO is on 3cc. He's on 3cc, he's making 3 SCVs at a time, and eventually HonMonO is going to be able to get into dropships and, you know, drop across the map or, you know, tech up. Coming into a longer game state, HonMonO has a massive advantage. And threepoint has a lot of catching up to do. As all that threepoint can do for the next couple of minutes is drone. Just drone. I mean, the Rax even confirms everything. Confirms that his opponent's droning. Confirms that there's no crazy tech on the way. No, like, infestation pit into Swarm Host or anything like that. Swarm Host Nidus could actually be a decent, like, answer here. Because Swarm Hosts are an NG-based units. They can build value over time. But it's just so far away. Like, it's going to take so long to really get into. And HonMonO back at home, freely making SCVs, starports on the way. I imagine that will be for dropships. Rax confirms there is no 3rd. But hey, it's just a really weird game state because again, HonMonO can't, he just can't counterattack. he's just kind of stuck on his island. But he's being so efficient, like he's not making any units, he's only making SCVs. SCVs, 4 CC on the way, there's that dropship. Goliath is a good unit. I mean, cue like the Reddit threads of just the SC2 community wanting Goliath instead of Thors. Like that's been a debate for a long time about people being upset or wanting Goliath instead of Thors in SC2. Feels bad, man. The rationale is they're more mobile, they're cheaper, you can mass them a lot easier as well, as opposed to Thors. Regardless, Hydrogen's on the way for 3 points, getting into Roach Hydra. Still stuck with a 2-base economy, getting into a 3rd. Oh, we have Valkyries on the way. I don't think I've ever seen a Valkyrie in this mod yet. I don't think we've seen players embrace that, but let's go. They're ideal against air-based units. Goliath drop coming in. Well, we can micro the pickup. And Goliath, they start a step forward. They head into the mineral line as well. Only queens to defend. They catch an overlord, going for another. Oof. Yeah, HonMonO, nice micro, does save every single Goliath, doesn't lose a single unit. Hunting for more overlords, I'm sure. Getting a roach. You have to be very careful though. Again, the dropship does not have boost like the medevac does. So one wrong move and you will lose everything. HonMonO has to pull away. Again, hunting for more overlords. 4 CC now being taken. And he's just amassing up Goliath Valkyrie. Plus, Goliaths look awesome. I will say that Goliaths look a little bit better, in my opinion, in Brood War than they do here in SC2. But only because the Brood War Goliath has a bit of a different color palette. Right? It has like black accents on it, which make it stand out more, as opposed to here, which is just gray and blue. So color scheme wise, I feel like we could have done a little bit better here, SE2, like when it comes to coloring the Goliath, but regardless, we're settling in. These Valkyries move out. They're hunting for overlords. Oh, but there are Hydras to meet them. Oh, they got one. You get a Valkyrie. Just the initial one though, as they're still hunting for more overlords. Nidus Worm is done, so threepoint can take another expansion. Threepoint is still attempting to stabilize. Because of the high yield gases, like it is actually possible to bounce back a little bit faster in this game, and threepoint, he is recovering. He's getting there. I will say that HonMonO still has map control and HonMonO still has the better economy, but threepoint, he's recovering over time. Needs a little bit more though to get his base up and running. And at least we have confirmation of our unit composition of choice. It's going to be Valkyrie, Goliath, with some science vessels to support as well. The downside, of course, is we need a lot of dropships. We need a lot of dropships to help actually, you know, send this army across the map. I actually wouldn't even be opposed to HonMonO, instead of making factories here, or even building factories at home, and then floating them to the center of the map, just so we can like reinforce a little bit faster instead. Another Nidus, threepoint, looking to take another expansion. Hydras have arrived. That's not a brutal fight. It's fine, it's fine. Don't worry about it. As HonMonO is gonna be dropping in. Does hit the nat, or does hit the island. Only a handful of Hydras here to defend. Oh, the Nidus Storm does fall so quick. Yeah, and the mass Goliath will be able to overwhelm these Hydras. Hydras, they cannot hold their own, not against this many Goliaths. And the Hydras are cleaned up. Goliaths, they overwhelm. And they will take down the expansion. Again, Hydra Roach can't really hold its own against this. I do think that Lurkers would be an ideal kind of like supportive unit. But alas, we're not quite there yet. Threepoint, he can't afford Lurkers. He needs an expansion. Base is gonna fall. Nidus on the way. We do see threepoint, he does reinforce. He's gonna try to go for the fight. And with Queens of more Hydras, looks like he will finally overwhelm. Ooh, gets a dropship. But HonMonO does evacuate with most of his army. Almost getting another. Meanwhile, jump across the map, takes down the Nidus Worm. God, you know what's crazy? You can fit 4 Goliaths in two dropships. That's crazy. Oh my god, you get like, in my mind, like in SE2, you're limited to 2 Cyclones per medevac. Like, think about that. Like, it doesn't actually take that many dropships to doom drop like mass Goliath. That's crazy. It's like a clown car of Goliaths. They all just squish in. Really, Goliaths are like Transformers, or they squish themselves down just so they can Tetris into the dropship. Meanwhile, Doom drop here towards the island base. There are Hydras patrolling. We have the high ground though. Ooh. And mining is denied at the mineral line. Again, look at how many. Oh, Jesus. As denied is denied. Dune drop into the main. And how much is there back at home to defend? Okay, we have a handful of Hydras. Jeez, but that's still so many Goliaths. They will overwhelm. Vipers have arrived. We have some lightning clouds. But that's a sea of Goliaths. And HonMonO, he's overwhelming the ground army. GG gets called and HonMonO takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. HonMonO will take the first game, will take a lead in the series. Bearing in mind, if you maybe tune in halfway through, this was all off of a failed Nidus all-in, and threepoint went down to, what was it, like 5 drones? Because he pulled the boys with it as well. So this was after a failed all-in where threepoint was trying to recover. He never quite did. Threepoint was close, but wasn't quite able to keep up with the macro of HonMonO after losing so much in that failed Nidus all-in, and HonMonO did ever well. GG, well played. GG, HonMonO does take a lead. Now we're jumping into game number 2. Here we go. We're going to be loading into Monty Hall, a map that we have not seen at all tonight. Monty Hall has been vetoed time and time again, and I've never casted on it. This is one of the newer maps in the map pool. For those that are curious, the map pool for this week's tournament has been updated and is different to last week's tournament. Last week we had Golden Wall. Last week we had another map as well that is slipping my mind. Retro, that's it. We had Retro, we had Golden Wall. This time they've been replaced by the beach map. I almost said Gaiman Beach. It was... Need to double check. Guangali Beach and Monty Hall. And I'm curious what this map looks like. This is an old Brood War map that has been ported over. Let's go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner. Oh, wait, proxy. Oh, actually, wait, what? Oh my god. Okay. Spawning in the top left-hand corner, a pseudo-island map with many mineral walls all over the place that we are mining through. Okay, we are proxying. We do have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. As he's going for a proxy, 3 racks, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player also sending out a drone across the map, rolling SC2 Zerg. It is threepoint. Okay, the SCVs have arrived, and it looks like we can actually mine through another patch. Yeah, the gold minerals are being mined through. HonMonO does slip in, going for the Raxes into the main, and threepoint he scouts. He sees, he knows. Spawning pool gets thrown down, he can pull the boys, and can these Raxes finish? I mean, with RNG, yeah, no, they can't finish. They cannot. The Overlord was in position to scout, and HonMonO has to think better of his proxy. So a better start for the Zerg. The hell just happened? But really interesting. So as we saw, the gold patches only take 1 worker to mine through, but we have these like blue mineral patches that take a lot more here. There are 30 minerals per patch. So it takes a lot more. Because of that, we have some very interesting choke points that are created. HonMonO expanding back at home is transitioning. HonMonO is behind off of the opener after the failed proxy, after the failed cheese. And it looks like we're not entirely certain that's the case. Okay, so threepoint is scouting. He's checking for another proxy. He doesn't believe that HonMonO is macroing. So he's scouting on the right-hand side. Scouting towards the left. But yeah, these kind of mineral wall setups are a lot more commonplace in Brood War. If you watch Brood War nowadays, I'm pretty sure there are modern Brood War maps that incorporate this as well. Ooh, we're going for a ninja. And okay. Sorry, there's a lot to take in right now. So on the one hand, you have these mineral walls. On the other hand, you have 3 possible expansions right next to you. You have 3 bases right next to your main, so you can expand up to 4 bases quite freely here, to be honest. I mean, the terrain does mean it's a little bit harder to rotate between the bases. You have to go back home and then back out, but you have these 3 bases right next to you, and that also means that this ninja base is also right next to the main of HonMonO, and HonMonO is unaware. you can mine through this patch and just head right in. Like on the flip side, as I'm saying how there's like 3 possible expansions or like 4 bases, there's also 3 ways into your main. That is unheard of in SC2. 3 different paths into the main base is crazy. And the main has no high ground. Like there's no like ramp, there's no high ground advantage. So technically, if you mine through these patches, you have like multiple ways to bust into the main base to get on top of the production as well. Ooh, drone goes down. Is going to be a 2-racks opener here from HonMonO. Rushing into stim, going massive marine. And again, it only takes 1 drone to mine through that patch. Lair is on the way. Alright, we're cooking, Pap. We're cooking. We're pulling the boys. Boy, let's go. Boys are being pulled. They're being pulled to mine, of course, to mine through the space, to mine through the expansion. Now, this is SC2 Zerg against Brood War Terran. So with a fast lair, we can head into Drop a Lord play. Swarm Host. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, because of the terrain, Swarm Hosts are ideal here. We talk about Swarm Hosts on Amphion in SC2, but Swarm Hosts here on this map are crazy. Because they're so safe. Because of how thin these walls are. And because of the SimCity or because of the terrain itself, like, I mean, how do you punish? Spine Crawlers being thrown down. This is a very cool build here at a 3-point specifically for this map. And again, HonMonO still doesn't know. He's throwing down depots at every single mineral wall, which makes sense. And now he sees the creep. Now he knows. Now he knows what's going on. He has to deny this Spine Crawler. Marines are rotating. Queen is in position. Swarm Hosts are on the way. And the depot is denied. And again, because this mineral wall is up and running, like, how do you punish the Swarm Hosts? How? I don't think you can. Scan, oh, misses the tech. That was an unfortunate scan. Does miss the infestation pit. Swarm Hosts have arrived. What do we go for? We're going for the army. 3-point is trading with the Marines. Gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Nice kiting. Only 3 Marines. Very nice cleanup here by HonMonO. But that Swarm Host count is getting higher. It's getting higher and higher. And the Locust Wave is going to be that much more devastating. Scan reveals the Swarm Host, the Spine Crawlers in the backline as well. And we can just keep going. This time headed towards the natural. Catching a medic. Oh. 3 Marines. Medic does survive. But gets into the mineral line. SCVs are going down. Getting 6 SCVs. I'll be honest, I kind of wish we had like maps like this in SC2. Like it's such there's so much going on with the map itself. And this is also why, as we do see the Marines are a little bit overstimmed, Spine Crawler holds its own, Marines go down, Locust Wave into natural. But this is also why, for those that are curious, the reason why the meta shifts so often in Brood, I say so often, still shifts in Brood War, even though Brood War doesn't get any patches, is because, I mean, at least the theory is that the map is balanced by maps. Like, there's just so much more creativity, it feels, or there's so many less constraints on building maps, that maps in Brood War do often kind of dictate the meta and balance the game as well. And I mean, with crazy stuff like this, like, you can definitely see that happening. It's insane. As the Locust Waves do continue. Because again, this kind of build will not be viable on another map. Like it's just, it's crazy. It also helps that HonMonO, you know, his initial opener was a rough one that he kind of failed the proxy and failed cheese. On top of that, didn't think to scouts because, I mean, why would he? Especially if HonMonO wasn't practiced on this map. Locust Wave trades with more Marines. HonMonO contained on 2 bases, has been unable to expand. Likewise, 3-point also on a 2-base economy, getting to +1 range. The Locust Wave coming in. Once again, stacking. Nice stim. Only bleeding out, what was that, like 3 or 4 Marines? Honestly, like, these trades haven't been too bad for HonMonO, as long as he maintains his economy. The problem, though, as he's scanning, looking for a 3rd, is just the efficiency here from 3-point has been crazy. Oh, gets over the army. Late scan. Oh my god. Yeah, massive wave of Marines and two medics go down as well. Turrets on the way. I do like the addition of the turrets, but they might be a little bit too late. We'll see if they can be denied. Medics likewise running out of energy. We've seen a lot of stims here out of HonMonO. Stims again. Oof. Getting a medic. High energy medic as well. Gets one of the turrets. Another Locust Wave on the way. They just keep on going in. As threepoint has staggered his waves into two. Oof. Yeah, and he's overwhelming. He's overwhelming the army. Taking down so many Marines. And HonMonO just cannot keep up with these kind of trades. Not with only a 2-base economy. Down to almost purely medic. And the waves, they just keep on going. They keep coming, Pappy. Initially, HonMonO was trading well, but you can see as the Swarmhost count gets higher and higher, the wave of Locusts become that much more unbearable here for HonMonO. They just become that much more overwhelming. And HonMonO he has no answer. Just Mass Marine, no starports, no factory. Oh, there is a factory, but no starports, no like counter drop play. They just keep going. And we haven't even seen, like, there's so much more going on in this map as well that we weren't able to really embrace, but I'm hoping we can see more of this map in future SELs. Like, the center of the map is just so wide open. It's crazy. There's just nothing here. We have these fringe bases that are also a little bit, they're also much more exposed. Which makes sense. If your initial 4-base setup is very safe, then of course the fringe bases are that much more exposed and that much more vulnerable. We do have more swarm hosts rallying in. And yet it feels like it's only a matter of time before HonMonO just runs out of steam. So we're going for the CC. Oh my god. Forcing a lift up. Base is saved. 12 more swarm hosts on the way. Just mass swarm hosts. Aye, aye, aye. I think it's impressive that HonMonO has been able to like hold on for as long as he has. And even sustain this production actually. Like he's still on 16 mineral patches here in the main. Well, I should say 8 patches in the main and 8 patches in the natural. His marine count is back up. Cleans up the Locust Wave. Yo, HonMonO, can he break out of this? I mean, breaking out is another question entirely is the problem. 2-2 is on the way. Because of how narrow these areas are, these choke points. And if he ever does move out, he's going to lose the base. He's stuck at home. Now, if he can get into like mass starport, like Wraith production, then maybe. But oh my god, that's a little Locust. The entire wave coming in at once. HonMonO does pull away. But the Locust Wave goes for the expansion, goes for the SCVs. Oof. SCVs are going down. That's going to be 10 SCV kills. That is brutal. And again, HonMonO, he can't mine through these patches because of the Spine Crawler. I mean, he'd have to kill the Spine Crawler first. He is opening up the path on the right. Locust Wave is coming in. Locust Wave is on cooldown. Ah, but that was only half the Swarm Host. HonMonO, he goes for a counterattack. If he comes in from behind, there is a Locust Wave ready. Or just go for the base trade. He's going for the base trade. Let's send it, Pappy. Send it. Did mine through some minerals. And there's no Nidus. There's no Nidus to come back home. Uh-oh. Here we go. HonMonO pushing forward. It's only 4 Swarm Hosts and 1 Queen to defend. And now is send it, Papi. Now is the time. CC's floating over. Now, filing through this area is quite awkward, but again, there's nothing to stop him. There's nothing to stop him. He can push in. Local save is revealed. And now is the time. Go for it, Papi. Go for it. Oh, he's trying to mine through more, but it takes a long time. It's 30 patches or 30 minerals. Wait, does a marine not fit through? No, it has to. Is that only enough room for an SCV? I think it is, right? It's only enough room for an SCV. Oh. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah. So, only enough room for an SCV, not for a marine. Ah, that's brutal. Sorry, I wasn't quite aware, but yeah, I do remember this is a feature. So you have to mine through the patch just to actually... The army can't get in! He's getting there, though. 3 more. 3 more rotations. Iron Festers are on the way. They can fungal. Oh my god, it's not going to be pretty. But fungals are available. The patch is about to break through. Massive... Oh my god. Massive fungal, the chain fungal, but 2 fungals are enough. Oh my god. Half the marines go down. Another fungal does connect, and we have another in the chamber. It does connect as well. GG gets called. And 3-point ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Let's go. We're going to game 3. Whew. We are going to game 3. Again, a wild map. A wild map. Let's go. We need more Monty Hall in our lives. We need more. Use the investment gas. Yeah. If you recall, that was something that was done. I mean, it's still done nowadays, but was done on Golden Wall, if you recall, where you create a gas geyser which destroys the minerals and replaces it with gas. Then you can mine minerals and destroys the gas. So you could just like infinitely mine through that wall with the gas geyser. It used to happen. It used to happen before on Golden Wall, and we've seen that happen in modern StarCraft 2 on Crimson Court. We've seen that on Crimson Court, where you mine through the left-hand side and you flood across the map by sneakily mining into the natural of your opponents. So, true. Does happen in modern StarCraft as well. Not brutal. Imba. Kappa. Why we don't have creative maps in SC2 tournaments. So for StarCraft 2, there are what's the best way of putting it? Guidelines, or there's certain rule sets that have to be followed in SC2. It's a lot more restrictive, is a better way of putting it. So map makers, whenever they create maps for an SC2, there's a lot more restrictions around rush distances, around bases and base sizes as well. There's a lot of limitations when it comes to making a map in SC2 that gets accepted into kind of viable competitive play. What I will say is that those restrictions have been loosened over the years, and you could definitely see that in the most recent active ladder map pool in SC2. Like maps like Crimson Court and Amphion and Post-Youth are a lot more unorthodox. So they have been easing up on those restrictions recently, but it's taken a long time. It's taken a long time for that to happen. Meanwhile, let's dive in. Proxy hatch. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborns, we have our South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran for Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing Hyper 1, going for the hatch block, the proxy hatch. It is 3-point. Here we go. But yeah, that is the one downside. It isn't just that. It isn't just you know, the guidelines that are set in stone and stuff like that for SC2, as the proxies have been scattered, boys are being pulled. But another big factor for balancing SC2 is the sentry. there are certain units that kind of use a terrain in their own way, and because of the way that the sentry is designed, the sentry morphs and manipulates the terrain with force fields, and because of that, that also has to be like taken into consideration for balance purposes when it comes to how maps are made, because of how crazy good force fields can be if certain areas are too narrow, for example, stuff like that. Meanwhile, we do have the hatchery finishing up. Spine coolers are on the way, but the spine coolers should be denied. Or I should say the sunken colony should be denied. Yes, if SCVs are gonna full surround. 3-point with the constant cancels. He's crazy. Spine cooler gets shut down. Sun colony gets shut down. Lings are flooding in though. There's still that one Reaper and Marine. We have a backup colony on the way, but I don't know if we can really finish. Ooh, nice round. Marine goes down. Marine does fall. More Lings are on the way. Ooh, sunken colony is being morphed in as we speak. Lings are cleaned up, and it looks like the colony will be denied just in time. HonMonO, he defends. Does force a cancel. And HonMonO should be able to hold on. Marines are amassing behind this, making one Marine at a time. Lings are flooding in. Oof. Getting 3 SCVs. But the hatchery is so low. Behind this 3-point did expand. Is working towards link speed. Dancing with the army. Gets more SCVs. Almost gets the Reaper. The Reaper! Reaper goes down. Massive pickup. Uh-oh. With the Reaper falling, Lings, they flood into the main. The wall is still open. There is no depot here. The creep is actually spreading up the high ground. As creep is actually longer here for Brood War hatcheries than SC2. Lings, they flood into the main. Marines are going down. It looks like 3-point, he's done it. He's broken the main base. GG! And 3-point takes a 2-1 lead. GG, well played. That is an interesting factor about proxy hatches from Brood War to versus SC2. Because you can't spread creep in Brood War, because there are no queens and there are no active tumors, because of that, the radius of creep around the Brood War hatchery is actually larger. Because of that, HonMonO couldn't wall off. Because he could not wall the main with a depot like you usually would because of the creep from the hatchery. Very interesting. GG, well played. That is a unique kind of balance, or a unique feature between the two races. A difference, I should say, between SC2 and Brood War. And GG. GG, well played with that. In the end, the Ling Flood did overwhelm, just barely. Also, I should emphasize, HonMonO was being greedy. I should also emphasize, HonMonO, he went for a Rax expand. He did not have a second Rax or a factory on the way. HonMonO was making one Marine at a time to defend. To be fair, HonMonO could only afford that because he had pulled so many SCVs. So his economy was actually quite stifled because he had pulled so many workers to defend. So he had just very limited production, very limited defense. GG, well played. GG, well played. We're getting into our next game. But again, that's what I mean, like these small, like unique details of difference between the races, they do actually impact like builds and cheeses and even just the game in general. It's just, yeah, you have to approach it in a different way. Here we go, we're getting into our next game. Potentially the final game of the series, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Holopoid. We have the South Korean Terran, the blue Terran, representing Hyper 1, it is HonMonO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg, representing Hyper 1, leading the series 2-1, it is a 3-point. Here we go, 3-point. Now rocking the Brood War Zerg race, HonMonO rocking the SC2 Terran, once again. And something very important about this map that I should emphasize once again is this is a 4-player map. It is a 4-player spawn, and you can spawn horizontally or diagonally as well, or vertically. Like there's no rule set. In SE2, it would limit it, and there were certain maps where it was only cross spawn, for example, and never like linear spawn or horizontal spawn, or they would limit things like that. On this map though, on Holopoid, anywhere you can spawn in any location. And as a result, we can see both overlords being sent out. We have our first overlord towards the top left, and we have the second overlord towards the bottom right. We do have a 3-point opening up hatch first. And HonMonO has still yet to move out with an SCV. HonMonO just going for a Rax Expand, Economic Opener by the Terran. And likewise, yeah, Economic Opener by the Zerg player as well. If you're curious, ooh, macro hatch already? Yes, in a macro game, in a standard game, Zerg players do require an earlier macro hatchery from the Brood War side of things, just because there's no queens. So to keep up with your economy, you need that macro hatchery for larva, just because there are no injects, of course, because of lack of queens. So macro hatcheries are a lot more necessary and a lot more common in the game state in general here. For Brood War Zerg. Meanwhile, we do have our third hatchery now on the way. Lings are amassing. Ling speed is in production. And HonMonO is still trying to figure out what's going on. He does scout top left, and now he's checking top right. Now HonMonO is aware. Now he knows. Does scout, does confirm. Reaper dipping in, dancing with the initial army. The Reaper can be quite more effective here against Brood War Zerg, but does have to respect those Lings. Takes a couple of hits. More Lings are amassing. If HonMonO is not careful, Ling's going to spawn in behind him, so he has to respect it. We'll pull away. Ling speed is almost done. We even have a Ling across the map, delaying some mining time here on the low ground. Going for the mule, doesn't quite get it, but does deny some mining nonetheless. Ooh, Reaper goes down. Oh, no, never mind, sorry. I thought the Reaper was surrounded, but the Reaper does hold its own. 3-point taking another expansion, getting up to, what, 4 hatcheries. Now, it's not like 3-point is going to be, like, saturating these bases very quickly, but again, does need these bases for larva. And eventually to saturate. So 3-point already getting up to 5 hatcheries. Across the map did confirm the economic opener. Double Evo chamber, double upgrades. Is still droning up. Getting a sunken colony at his third, and in between his bases. And again, stack defense here is a little more commonplace for Brood War Zerg. Again, because of lack of queens, that's where spine crawlers or sunken colonies come into play. So they're being fanned out in between the bases. Hellions applying a bit of pressure. I would imagine that that our Zerg player here will go Ling Hydra, but we'll see. Melee upgrades are in production. We'll see if he does go Ling Hydra into Lurker, or if he has something else in store for us. He could just go Mass Ling into Ultra, true, into Hive Tech. Or like Mass Ling into Defiler. Meanwhile, back at home, it's going to be a 2-1-1 setup here by HonMonO. And what does this mean? Winding it back a little bit here, is going to be going into a stim timing with 16 Marines and 2 medevacs. So a very aggressive, very active kind of build here by HonMonO. Medevacs are on the way, and again, they're lined up with the completion of stim. So HonMonO has been a little bit less active so far, but he's soon going to be aggressive on the map. Sorry, it was a 3cc 2-1-1 build. So very economic here by HonMonO, taking his third base. This is an SC2 build. Hasn't really been adapted or anything like that. Scanning across the map reveals the main, reveals the lair. And there's the Hydra Den. Now, as you can see here, Hydra Tech is actually Hatch Tech in Brood War, but you need the lair to morph in lurkers. So the lair is required to get into lurker tech still. So that is most likely on the horizon for 3-point. HonMonO moving out with his Marines, of course. Moving out with 14 Marines. With Stim, Hellions are back at home to defend, and HonMonO does hit the 4th, but the Spine Crawler, the Sun Colony, does finish up just in time. And the colony is done. And with that, 3-point will defend. HonMonO dropping into the main. 3-point trying to keep up. Ooh, will bleed out some Lings. But for the most part, will maintain himself. Does force the pickup. Ooh, and you can see Lurkers being researched on the Hydra Den, but also a Spire is on the way as well. The Spire is behind the main, and HonMonO has scouted. HonMonO, he did barely scout the Spire, is aware of the potential Muta. Now, because 3-point got scouted, it's possible that he might only make mutas to harass. I'm referring to like 5 or 6 mutas at most. Otherwise, because he got scouted, he might just not make any mutas at all. Meanwhile, spore colonies are done. We have the spore here at the 4th in the main. We'll drop his called out. Oh, bleeding out Marines. Late pickup. Yeah, a lot of Marines go down. Down to 8. But you can see HonMonO following this up with a bio tank push. Did bleed out a lot of Marines, but he does have quite a lot behind this. The army is spotted, and we have more colonies on the way. You can see we're trying to catch reinforcements. 3-point going for a big counterattack. Ooh, colonies are denied. Yeah, massive cancel. HonMonO pushing in. Ling's a race back home, and the base is going to fall. Lurker production has begun, but this first lurker is going to be denied. Or at least not quite yet. Lurker will finish. Then can be targeted down. Does escape. Laser it across the map. They get into the mineral line. Nice hold position micro. SCVs are also falling. 3-point taking another expansion. Lost one, but it saved most of his workers. 8 SCVs going down across the map. And HonMonO backs off, which I think is a wise choice because we have a line of lurkers. Lurkers didn't make it in time. 3-point being very patient. Didn't overextend. Didn't engage with the main army. Not yet. Now does put the army unsieged. Lurkers do borrow. One of the Hellbats will survive. And can HonMonO deny the backup expansion? He does spot it. He's rotating towards the south. 3-point trying to keep up. Yeah, it looks like this hatchery is going to go down as well. Pretty good pickoffs here. HonMonO takes down the 4th and the backup 4th as well. Keeping 3-point on a 3-base economy. Scourger on the way. Okay, no mutas. Going to be Scourge instead. I mean, that is a way to deal with the Metamax. Scourge, the Banelings of the sky. Here at the 3rd is much more secure. We have lurkers and sunken colonies. We do see 3-point double expanding. 3-point, he's in a rough position. He's behind. Even though 3-point has a lot of drones, he's long distance mining. He needs a 4th base desperately to keep up. As HonMonO takes his own 4th. So HonMonO is getting ahead in the economy. He still maintains map control. And he's looking for another 4th. He will find it. Link Lurker can't quite engage. HonMonO dropping in. Finds the 5th. Tank will siege. Oh, and this 5th base is going to be cancelled. Now, Queens are coming in for the ensnare. Oh! They do catch the Metamax. Do we have any Scourge coming in? Not quite. Wait, what happened? Looks like the Scourge in it. There are 2 of them. Yeah, they do slip in. Take down 1 Metamac. 1 Metamac goes down. The hive behind this is done. Again, for those that are curious, Queens, they basically have fungal. They can fungal units with their ensnare. The lurkers get caught out. Nice pick up by HonMonO. Oh, Metamac will escape. Getting into the mineral line. We're getting 3 workers. Forcing response here from the Zerg player. Once again, doesn't snare the Metamax, shuts it down. And 3-point can now stabilize. Can look to stabilize. He's up to 90 workers. Is oversaturated, but is taking another base. And its composition is going to be Ling, Hydra, Lurker, Queen. So we have our initial queens. 3 queens so far. No Defiler Mound. So no Defiler production. See HonMonO moving out now with Ghosts. Ghosts, of course, they're designed to counteract the Queen with EMPs and snipes. We'll see if he can. Ghost sniping the initial lurkers. 2 lurkers going down. Not bad. We do see 3-point setting up a surround though. The Queens! He gets 2. 2 Queens go down. Massive pickoffs. Instead, 3-point going for a massive counterattack instead. Losing most of his queens. Defiler's now on the way. My apologies, I did miss the Defiler Mound, but did complete. And the mineral line is going to fall. Trading a base for a base. HonMonO gets 1. 3-point gets the other. Smash shot's going off. Smash shot's going off. Defilers have arrived. They can, of course, Dark Swarm. Ooh, Lings even catches them. Ghosts. Oh, they get two. Two ghosts go down. Hellbats morphing in to defend. Lings, they bust into the mineral line. They force back the entire army. It races back home. That's also why Hellbats are really important for HonMonO, because of the Dark Swarm. That's going to help against that. Here we go. We are moving out. Now this time with those Defilers. Was this Plague as well? Can Plague? Armor stimming in. Oh! Snipe going off initially on the Lurker. Oh, the Queen, the final Queen is going to fall. Massive pickup. Queen and the Scourge. No more Ensnare. Oh, snipes the Defiler as well. 3-point, a little bit of sleep at the wheel here. Bleeding out a lot of spellcasters to those snipes. HonMonO rotating. Dipping between the bases. 3-point at least keeping two of those Defilers safe in the Dropper Lords. And is working towards a greater Spire. That can be for Guardians. Meanwhile, Ling drop into the main. Not bad. Another Ling run by as well. Lurkers in position. Lurkers are going to be completely shut down. Lurkers full. Blue Flame Hellbats are ready for this. Ling drop in the main is distracting HonMonO at least a little bit, but the Ling run by at the third base doing so much more. That's a lot of Lings. And catching Hellbats, taking down eBays, denying upgrades. And the main Terran army does not gain any ground. He's racing back home. That's 18 SCV kills. Oh, no Hellbat either. That was a Hellion. Unable to morph it in time. Two more ghosts going down. And the main armies will clash. Oof. Nice snipes, though, on the Lurkers. Yeah, HonMonO, he holds his own. The main army is still quite terrifying. But he loses 24 SCVs. Catching up more Scourge. Take down the northern expansions. Hatchery is going to go down. Mineral line as well. Said 3-point still just rebuilding more Defilers, more Lurkers. He's not feeling too confident about engaging head on. And again, this death ball of an army is terrifying, especially against a Ling heavy composition. Against a Ling Lurker heavy composition. Because HonMonO can snipe the Lurkers, the Hellbats deal with all the Lings. And that's why 3-point he's been avoiding the main fight. He cannot fight this head on. He's been going for non-stop run-bys. Now he's going for the Planetary. Again, these are cracklings. 3-3 Lings with Adrenal. Okay, they get a full surround. Whole position micro takes down the mineral line. And every single SCV is going to fall. The base as well. HonMonO, he's down to a 2-base economy. The main base is mining out the natural as well. Barely any economy left. And here come the main fight. Up! The ghosts! Ghosts getting caught out. Lurkers are late to burrow. Massive EMP! EMP does connect. We get the Plague on the main army though. Lurkers who burrow in time. Bit of a messy fight here for 3-points. But the Plague does so much damage. And the Lings, they come in for a surround. And that's going to be all we had left. GG gets called. We get the we get the final Dark Swarm. And 3-points will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's champion. GG. It was a bit of a messy end to the fight. There was a lot going on. But GG, well played. Again, for so long, HonMonO, he had a solid army. He had Bio, he had Hellbats, he had the Ghosts. We saw that 3-point just could not really engage with the main army for so long until he got his Defiler count up and running. But it was the Ling run-bys. Ling run-bys were the MVPs, whether it was Ling drops in the main, Ling run-by at the third, Ling run-by at the fourth. They were just snowballing out of control, and HonMonO had the bare minimum to defend. Not enough at home. He had like 1 or 2 bunkers at home, but no like Widow Mines, not enough Sim City either. In the end, HonMonO, he was just being crippled by those counterattacks, by those run-bys. Despite his main army looking so strong, he was never able to really deal critical damage. He was always just sniping fringe bases, never going in for the kill. Never quite going in. GG, well played. GG. GG, well played. GG, well played. Congratulations to 3points, as he will claim the series and will be this week's SEL champion. Congratulations. A shout out to HonMonO. Shout out to HonMonO for, of course, making it to the finals, making a series out of this, and we had some very interesting, very entertaining games. We had a wild game on Paradox with the Mask Goliath, where HonMonO popped off. We had the game on Monty Hall with the 2-base Swarm Host, which was very effective because of the map itself. And then we had some wild cheeses and even more longer macro games as well. Like, this final game here was a lot of fun as well, even though HonMonO did lose. Like, we saw like a really interesting like back and forth between Bio and Lurker, Ling, Defiler. HonMonO had his own strong moments as well, but did fall in the end. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time here in the StarCraft Evolution League. For those that are curious, this mod is available. I believe they're working on a ladder. Currently, I don't think there is a proper ladder or MMR system for SC Evo. It's something that's still kind of being worked upon. But regardless, it is a very fun kind of format, and as an SE2 caster, like, I do find it really refreshing. Like, it's always like just really fun. It's just really fun. It's just really fun to cast, really fun to watch. I will say though that currently SEL is, I think, the biggest and the only like regular tournament for this format. We have had some show matches in Korea. We have had like a couple of big events in Korea, but not as regular as this. And we'll see how the meta evolves over time. As the meta is shifting, the map pool is being updated as we speak as well, which also kind of shifts the scoreline and shifts things as well. But we'll see how the meta does kind of settle in the end, and yeah, we'll be here to document it at least. I shout out to Hybrid1 as well, Hybrid1, who has been diligently porting maps from Brood War to SC Evo as well. It's been hard at work, quite dedicated, and of course one of the main sponsors of the tournament as well. A big shout out to Hybrid1. If you want to help support this tournament, I believe there is a command, !SC Evo. Is that? There we go. If you want to help support StarCraft Evolution, then you can do so via Patreon if you wish. That does help support the creators of the mod when it comes to, they do balance it, they do patch it, and they do put in a lot of work. So if you're interested, you can do so there. Otherwise, hope you all had a great time. Hope you all had a great time. Is South Region for structures identical for Brood War and Institute Zerg factions? That's a good question. Is there a command for that? Ooh. Hold on. Oh, I believe there is a wiki for the SE Evo where you can find that out. StarCraft Evolution Wikipedia. So I'm uncertain. I'm uncertain as of that fact. But there is a Wikipedia page which does detail a lot of the differences between them. We'll find it. Otherwise, hope you all had a great time. Hope you all had a great time. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. When it comes to the when it comes to our next broadcast here on the CranKy Ducklings, our next broadcast should be tomorrow in less than 24 hours. We're going to be casting the Sparkling Tunic Cup. That is going to be in, what, like 20-ish hours time? Oh, far less than that, actually. But yeah, it is going to be tomorrow, so if you're interested, again, it's going to be SE2. This is the only like StarCraft Evolution tournament that we cast. Everything else here on the channel is StarCraft 2, just as a heads up. And yeah, the next cast is going to be, let me just double check, in 15 hours. There we go. In 15 hours time, we're going to be live here. So I'm going to be getting some food. I'm probably going to stay up a little bit and then go to sleep, so I'm well rested for the tournament. But that is going to be the next cast here. Again, Sparkling Tunic Cup, it is an open tournament in SC2, open to all regions, open all shapes, all sizes, and we do often get a kind of amalgamation of Korean players and European players, and sometimes some American players as well. It's not the best time zone for the Americas, unfortunately, in 15 hours. Not the best time zone, not the best time slot for the Americas, but every now and then we get some passionate Latin American or North American players. We do always appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. You can support us via following on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. Also, before I forget, of course, let's get that going. Pay out those predictions. That information is not on our wiki. Oh, I see. I see. Notably, Brood War structures do not take damage off of creep. Interesting. Interesting fun fact. There you go. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Again, you can follow us on all the social medias. Where's the command? There we go. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. You can also support us on Patreon as well, as our Patreon does fund our tournaments like Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. So you can join us on Patreon. You can get replay packs. You can get benefits for supporting on Patreon. And of course, you get the benefit of helping out the CranKy Ducklings. Otherwise, we'll be heading off. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft action. Starting from tomorrow is kind of the marathon of casting. It's going to be Sparkling Tuna Cup, into Tenacious Total Tussle, into the WarDTV Monday, into the Ursasaurus Cup. So 4 events back to back to back to back. It's a very intense period, kind of Sunday leading into Monday, leading into Tuesday. Very intense period of StarCraft. A lot of tournaments back to back. So see you then for that kind of marathon of open cups. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.